Hi, Brandon, and welcome back. So, before we went on break, we talked about a couple of concepts such as signs of resistance and root causes. So, those signs of resistance, some can be verbal or nonverbal, right? Like, the arms crossed over the chest or they got their head down because they just don't want to hear what you have to say. But or the root causes. So those are, rooted in the fear of unknown or the fear of losing their job, or even some of them being personal. So these concepts that we talked about are really going to help us to develop a very clear communications strategy. But before we talk about that, I had asked you to come back from break and tell me about a time when you had gone through some change, when you had been delivered that news, and how that made you feel. And if you can, how did your supervisors do? So, Brandon, what do you have for me? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Totally understand that. hmm So, what I'm hearing you say is you were doing heavy database and you were told in this meeting, and what you thought you heard was you're going to have to work in two systems, the new one and the old one. And you're going to have to continue to work into that until they figured out how to merge the data. Wow. How did your supervisors do? Okay, so that's what you heard. Wow. Okay, well, there's nothing more important, especially that first meeting, than to have a very clear and effective communication strategy. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, bringing some of this, your experience, will help you with some very practical application in what we're about to talk about. So, we're going to talk about the importance of active listening and having empathy. So you're in these meetings and you're already getting, the signs of, at least the nonverbal signs, that they're not real happy. But at some point, it's going to be time for them to talk. And when they are speaking, they have the room, Brandon. And what, as far as active listening is you're really listening, right? You're nodding. You're not just nodding to nod, but you heard what they said. Maybe even, agreeing with them. Yeah, okay, huh, wow. Kind of like what I did when I was listening to your story. But then the other thing is really repeating back what they said. There's nothing more disheartening than to, really give somebody an answer only for them to say, wow, that's not even anything close to what I said. When you're active listening, you're also listening for some of those kind of personal level touches. I'm going to have to work 80 hours if I'm going to work in, two systems. And being able to bring that back in with your answers and being able to be very empathetic that they're afraid of that. Hey, I can assure you, we've got plans in place. You're still going to have your 40 hours. You still have job stability, right? And being able to address that with your active listening, along with the empathy, will help to address their fears and concerns during all of this change. Those things together, Brandon, help us to reduce resistance to change. So, with that said, I am going to move to an activity that we're going to do, and we are going to have empathy for Alex. So here's Alex. You can already tell with her nonverbal clues, her facial expressions, and even in her voice, she's probably saying, I am really not happy about this. I am so afraid for my job. I'm going to have to work extra hours. And maybe what she's not told you is she's afraid that she's not going to get out of there at 5 o'clock. She's got kids to pick up. So they've got some real rooted reasons for having this resistance. So, Alex, excuse me, Brandon, I'm Alex. What would you say to me using your active listening skills, understanding some of the root causes, as well as being empathetic? Okay, good. Very good. All right. That's very good. Bringing in those active listening skills. I like how you said you kind of lean into it, to hear her a little bit better and really repeat some things that she's been saying. Perfect. A couple other things that might come into mind. Again, like you said, reinstate her concerns, really acknowledge her feelings, but also telling her that she's a very valuable contributor, right? We really value your contributions, Alex. And also to ensure her, hey, nobody's going to be left behind here. Maybe this is something that you know about her that she doesn't really pick on up on these systems very quickly, and she's too afraid to say that, but she has some real concerns about that, and just ensuring that she has that support. So bringing in that kind of personal level, along with some of these tactics, are very valuable and help them feel like that they can really trust you. Well, let's move to the next activity, and this is with Jamie, who sat there and heard you say that to Alex and then went, yeah, right. I've heard this before, kind of a thing. And it's okay to put a little bit of assertion into it. So some of the things that you might address with Jamie may be a little more assertive so that he understands that, this change is coming, Jamie. So Brandon, how would you talk to me if I were Jamie and I was kind of rolling my eyes that, yeah, I heard that before based on what you said to Alex? That was very good. You're asking him for his input and not just taking it from what he heard from Alex. You're asking him to maybe further explain what he's concerned about. I like that. Okay, some other ones here very quickly. Again, the restating the concerns, acknowledging the feelings. He's a contributor, very valuable contributor, and he's got job stability. This is change management. It is not job reduction, right? And even offering those one-on-one trainings. That was very good. Very good feedback, Brandon. Thank you. Well, I do see that we're at time, and we're going to take another break before our next lesson. So, Brandon, I'll see you back in 7 minutes.